In alhamdulillah was okay. I'm sorry. Let me start this over. In alhamdulillah wa salat wa salam Allah wa rasulullah. We're continuing with our topic, keys to living Islam. Keys to living and practicing Islam. Yesterday we spoke about how the Prophet taught us to deal with the evil of others. If people are jealous of you, if you're afraid of people harming you with their jealousy, if you're afraid of people doing magic to you, he simply taught us to trust in Allah, to recite the Falak, the Nas, and the Ikhlas every day, and their magic won't harm you. To seek refuge in the perfect words of Allah, and they'll not be able to harm you. So the believer doesn't have time to sit around worrying about people making hasad on him, because the believer knows that he has other things to deal with, such as getting through the test of Allah. And our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam taught us how to handle the test of Allah. He taught us how to deal with life's hardships. And this is what we're going to speak about today. And again, Allah tells us in the Quran, in the interpretation of the meaning, certainly we will test you with fear, hunger, loss of money, loss of your lives and fruits, but give good news to those who are patient. And they are those who, when afflicted with a hardship, they say, to Allah we belong, and to him we shall return. This is a powerful verse of the Quran that I strongly encourage each and every one of you to memorize the meaning of. Because every day of your life will be spent dealing with some type of trial. Also, Allah says in the interpretation of meaning, who are the patient? They are those on whom the blessed will be forgiven from their Lord. They are those who receive his mercy, and it is they who are guided right. Subhanallah. So again, who are those Muslims that pass their tests? They're the ones who, whenever something bad happens to them, they don't blame it on Shaitan. They don't blame it on the evil eye. Instead, they say, to Allah we belong, and to he we shall return, and they handle their trial with dignity, calling upon their Lord to help them through it. And as a result, Allah causes their sins to be forgiven. They're the ones who are following the straight path. So whenever you guys are faced with a trial in life, be it losing your job, be it a sickness, divorce, a disobedient child, or whatever, ponder the meaning of those two verses of the Quran. Because by pondering the meaning, number one, you understand what your purpose in life is. You were created to worship Allah. And you were put here on this planet to be tested in your belief in him. Everything comes from Allah. Your children, they're not your children. They came from you. But remember, Allah is the creator of them. Your husband, he does not belong to you. He's a temporary gift given to you, just like your children. Everything in this life is temporary. Everything in this life is a loan to us. Your children are a loan to you from Allah, to see if you're going to worship them, choose them over him. Are you going to choose your husband over him? They are all loans given to you from Allah. And that's how we have to look at everything. My job, My job is a gift, a loan given to me by Allah. My children are gifts, loans given to me. If you think of everything in life as a loan and a means of testing your faith, then you won't attach to it too much. How is it that some Muslim women can look their children in the eye and say, until you turn back to Allah and believe La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, my door is never open to you. And they have nothing to do with their children until their children come back to believing in Allah instead of Jesus Christ as their Lord. Because these people understand, my children, they don't really belong to me. They're just a loan that Allah is using to test me with, so they can let go. The believer knows when to hold, and he knows when to fold. He knows when to bring his children in close and when to let them go. When they've transgressed the limits of Allah, it's time to let them go. Because guess what? You don't really belong to me anyway. You're just a loan that Allah gave to me as a test. And also, you understand from those two verses that the ultimate thing is, nothing here is permanent. We all will eventually return back to Allah. And you will be judged by Him on the choices you made in this life. Whether you put your children before Him, whether you loved your husband more than Him, whether you loved your job, your money more than Him, whether you love politics more than Him. Allah's going to test you to see, did you serve your purpose right in this world? Does everybody understand that? So those two verses of the Quran are the two powerful verses that I've just broke down and gave you the meaning to, that I want you to think about when you're dealing with a test in life, be it your children. Remember, they don't belong to you. They belong to Allah. We all belong to Allah. They just a loan. They're put here to test you. So you better know when to hold and when to fold when it comes to them. When your husband acts stupid and tell you that he don't want to pray no more, you let him go. Astaghfirullah, you don't want to practice a deen, you ain't going to pray. A'udhu billahi, then I will seek a divorce against you. Because I can't be married to a man who doesn't fulfill his obligations to Allah. I'm going to fold and let you go. Again, know when to hold and know when to fold. That's what it's all about, being a believer. And also when you recognize that this world is just a temporary illusion, that too becomes a means of getting you through your trial. Just like accepting the fact that your children and everything you have is a loan from Allah, everything else in this world is just an illusion. If you understand that, you will make it through your hardships too. Because the things that make you laugh can also make you cry. And the things that make you cry can also make you laugh. So you have to condition yourself to understand that discontent does not take away the hardship. Instead, it increases it. The more discontent you are with your lifestyle, the more misfortunes you will have. We have to learn, guys, to accept what Allah has given us instead of longing for more, instead of wishing for somebody else's life. Because again, the grass always looks greener on the other side. Everybody has their share of trials. You look at TV and you wish that you were rich. You want to be like the movie stars. Look at them. They can't stay married. They're miserable. Most of them are drug addicts, alcoholics. They can't keep a relationship. They have no one to talk to. Their life is worse than yours. So stop being discontent with what Allah has given you and instead look at the good you have and be thankful for it. And then your misfortunes will diminish instead of increasing. Also, discontent, it also causes your enemies to take pleasure over you. Because they'll look at you and say, oh, she's always talking about money. Her whole problem is, she's so stupid. It's all about money. She don't see the good that Allah has given her, that she's living better than most people. So since she's that stupid and don't realize the good she have, we just going to keep pushing her buttons. We're going to push her buttons and make her more and more bitter. That's what your enemies do. And the people that love you, they're going to run away from you because they're not going to want to be bothered with you, because they're sick and tired of you and your quest to be rich. They're sick and tired of you and your desire for money. So you're going to just make them angry and make them turn away from you. And you're going to make Allah angry because you don't realize that you're rich in other ways. That money is just an amana with Allah. And most people don't pass that test with Allah, that trust with Allah. So again, we have to stop being discontent with what we have. Like we talked about a couple of days ago, look and see the good in everything. This world is an illusion. You think people who are rich are happy when they're not. Some of the most miserable human beings that Allah created are rich. And on the other hand, some of the most happiest human beings Allah created are those who are poor. And that's why the prophet said the poor will enter paradise thousands of years before the rich do. Because the rich will be busy doing time in hell for not fulfilling the amana or the trust with Allah with all that money they had. So thus, guys, the best way to handle the trials of life is when you face them, soothe your heart by focusing on pleasing Allah. Ask yourself, how would Allah want you to react to this hardship? What would Allah expect from you? And then you'll be able to look at your trial and look at your hardship the right way and handle it with dignity. And again, everything takes patience. You will never, ever, ever be able to get through any trial in life if you don't have patience. And that's why the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that patience is one half of your faith. And Allah loves those who are patient. The person who is patient always looks for tomorrow. The patient person doesn't live in yesterday. The patient person doesn't live in the past. There are some people that can't get over what happened 50 years ago. They always talking about what people did to them, and you think they did it to them yesterday. No, this was 20 years ago. Get over it. Patient people, they look forward. They look for tomorrow, maybe tomorrow, maybe tomorrow. They forget about yesterday. They leave yesterday where it should be left, in the past. They learn from the past. They take their mistakes and learn and don't make them again, but they always look forward. These are the people that when they are faced with a hardship, they don't panic, they don't curse, they don't go to the extremes. Instead, when something bad happens, they immediately turn to Allah and say, oh Allah, give me the strength. Give me the strength to face this situation head on. Also, these are the people who know that Allah is not going to subject him to any hardship to destroy him. This is a person that knows that any bad thing that happens to him is meant to test him. It's not meant to tear him down. So he will deal with it by seeking Allah's help in doing so. And he will call upon Allah night and day, asking Allah to help him get through it. And again, guys, Allah loves for us to remember him and to call upon him in our weakest moments. He loves for us to acknowledge that he is the one that can control your heart. He is the one that can harm or benefit you. He is the one that can make it go away and not anyone else. So maybe tomorrow, Allah. Maybe tomorrow, Allah. And eventually tomorrow will come. Also, guys, our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us that hardships, they happen as a means of preventing sicknesses of the heart, diseases of the heart. What are some of the diseases of the heart? Arrogance, jealousy, envy. Why is it, if you look in the real world, if you look at that sister over there who always goes through bad things, but if you look at her, she's always got a smile on her face. She's not arrogant. She's not jealous. She's always in a positive mood. That's what her hardships do. They keep her heart purified. They purify her heart from arrogance, envy, and regret and hatred. You got a person that's always complaining about what happened to them, what somebody did to them 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. This is a person with a bad heart. This is a person that's suffering from jealousy. This is a person that has a lot of self-pity. This is a person, that hates others, that has envy for others. This is a person that doesn't really like himself. He can't move past what other people do to him or did to him 100 years ago. So the hardships happen as a means of purifying your heart from the diseases that can destroy it. The believer understands that the bitterness of this life is the sweetness of the afterlife. And that's what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam meant when he said paradise is surrounded by hardships, whereas the hellfire is surrounded by temptations. The road to paradise is not easy, guys. You have to work for it. It takes a lot of sacrifice. It takes a lot of self-evaluation. It takes a lot of self-jihad. It takes a lot of change. It takes a lot of looking forward. It takes a lot of patience. Whereas hell is easy. All you got to do is give in to your desires. Give in to your evil emotions. Give in to your jealousy. Give in to your hatred. Give in to your inability to let go of the past. Live in the past, you on your way to hell. Live in the past. You can't move forward from what somebody did to you 10 years ago. You well on your way to hell, because that's bitterness. Paradise is not filled with bitterness. Paradise is sweet, not bitter. Until you can let go of the past and the effects that it had on you, you're not on the road to paradise. So thus, guys, these are the things that our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us when it comes to hardship. And that's what's meant when we say that the bad things that we incur in life are a means of purifying us. It's purifying your heart from jealousy, envy, regret, self-pity, hatred, and all of that. And as a result of that, Allah forgives you of the sins you've committed. And you become better on your way towards Him, closer to Him, because you see the sweetness of Allah. You're tasting the sweetness of faith. You're leaving all that bitterness of the past, that bitterness of yesterday, that bitterness and that hatred where it needs to be, in a hole in the past, a pit in the past, covered up. Lesson learned, door closed, never to be opened. Also, you look at your children. You look at your husband. You look at all the things you love in this world for what they truly are. Loans from Allah. Yes, I love my children, but my children don't belong to me. They belong to Allah. And I know Allah will use them as a means of testing me because I love them, to see if I'm going to put them and my love for them before Him. So you handle the trials with your children. You know when to hold and when to fold. The same with your husband. The same with your job. Your job, you love it. It came from Allah. But it's a loan. It's an amana, a trust. Allah gave you this good job that pays this good money so you can drive that nice car and live in that nice home, to see if when you get home you will fall down on your knees and praise Allah and thank Him for the good things He's given you. Or will you become arrogant, pompous, think you're better than others and look down on others and not want to help other people? Again, that's the test of life. Do you think that just because you say you believe in Allah, you won't be tested in that? Do you think that Allah is not going to test you with those things you love the most? What was the purpose of your creation? You were only created to worship Allah. You were only born and put here on this earth to be tested in your belief in Him. So pass your test. Show that you know what your purpose is. Handle the trials of life. Handle the hardships and handle them with dignity. Make Allah proud. That's how we get over it. That's how you find yourself in paradise and not in the pits of hell. On that note, we'll stop right here for today. Tomorrow we're going to continue. I'm going to give you a quiz to cover what we discussed today, and then we'll continue with another key. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa